Hi, this is an instructional video on the multi-functions of the Y-splitter. Now the Y-splitter is a single cable that has two heads to it, so one point where they join and then 2 points where they separate. Now this cable we have because sometimes a customer just has a different use for them. One example will be they want to use one sensor to operate 2 units, or possibly 2 sensors to operate 1 unit. So this is that cable that will help remedy your issue if you have an interesting use for your AutoSlide. So I'm going to start off with talking about using 2 sensors for 1 port. Now I'm going to pull over a example unit I have here. So this one's already opened up, doesn't have its case. And so how would you would use this is pretty much, let's say I want to use this microwave sensor and this hardwired IR sensor for whatever reason. And I want both of them to work at inside the house. So what you would do is you would grab the Y-splitter, plug it into inside port, which I will point out right here, inside sensor. So you're going to plug into here. So now this single port has 2 ends to it. And so now what you do is you're going to grab some of the excess cables that come with your kits, and you're going to plug one end of your extension cable over onto one of your sensors. So I'll plug it into my hardwired IR right here. And then the other sensor, you plug that into your microwave you have right here. And so this process can be done with pretty much almost all of our sensors. Also, another use you might have for this is, let's say you have more than 3 dogs. Let's say you have 6 or 7 dogs, and you're trying to use our smart tag sets. Well, our smart tag sets only have a capability of supporting 3 tags per sensor. So one way to get around this is you order 2 sensors with your order, and then you plug in the RFID sensor you plug in 2 to 1 unit, and of course you'll plug this into the pet mode function. So that's right here, it's labeled pet mode, and notice pet mode is the port, not the lowest port, but it's actually the 2nd lowest port from your perspective. So I'm going to plug my 2 cables in to there. So now I have 2 smart tag sets. I don't have another one here over display, but do imagine that there's another smart tag set over here. So 3 tags will be paired to this one, and 3 tags will be paired to this one. Keep them in the same area, and it's pretty much like this one sensor can take up all 6 dogs and open the door for them. So that's your option for if you have pets, or even if you're using this for people or human use. You can simply, that way, have multiple signals opening up the door. Now I'm going to move on to using 1 sensor to open up 2 units. Now, the reason I'm pulling this up is because sometimes customers want to have a biparting door. So they have a sliding door that both ends actually slide open and close. So what they usually end up doing is they'd end up purchasing a second AutoSlide unit. And let's say they want to use a single or an inside and an outside hardwired IR sensor. It's going to be hard to pair both of them to them because, first of all, you need to plug them in, and there's only 1 port per these sensors. So what you do instead is you'll grab the Y-splitter, plug it into the back of your hardwired IR sensor. So now your hardwired IR sensor has 2 ports, not just 1 port. And then you're going to grab your additional units. So I have an additional unit right here. And you're going to plug them in to the port in which you plan to use. So let's say I want this sensor to open up to any movement inside the house. What I'll do is I'll grab my excess cables as before, plug them both into each end of the Y-splitter, and then I will plug the end of the now extended cable into the inside sensor port, which is right here, what I showed earlier. I'll plug that in here, and then I'll do the exact same for the other unit I have over here. now I will plug in the other end to inside sensor, just as I showed earlier. And there we go. So now we have paired both of these units. So now both of these units will take signal from this one sensor, and you can do the exact same thing on the other side for the outside port, because on the AutoSlide units we of course have a inside sensor port, and then below that we have an outside sensor port. So for the outside, you'll ideally do the exact same thing. You'll grab another Y splitter with the sensor you want to use, and then of course you'll plug it in using the other cables you have per the kits.